Hello, everybody. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you. As we close out this work week, we are expecting a return to some stout thunderstorm development in the high plains. And as it rolls out into the southern plains, we could see a risk of severe weather. For many, that risk will come on Thursday, and it will be followed up by another repeat performance by the atmosphere on Friday and into Saturday. There will be some nocturnal or overnight storms that will be persistent as well. In this video, we're going to talk about the timing of these storms and the risks, the track of the storms, at least the most likely path that they will be taking. And then on the backside of this system, cold air knifing through the southern and central Rockies will bring a legitimate chance of some impactful snowfall as well. We'll hint on that as well. Paul, good to have you on from Scobie. I always encourage all of you to drop a line in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to check that out as well. And if you do have a question, please drop that in as well. Hey, likes really do help my videos, and well, sharing with friends at Hutch is right here on YouTube helps as well. Let's get right to the details, and I'm going to pull my picture up of here, and we're going to talk a little bit about these risks of severe weather. We'll start with that Thursday risk. Notice the yellow areas. That is a slight risk. That is a level 1 risk. On a 5-level scale. So we got marginal and then slight. Slight means we might have some hail potential. There is a risk for some tornadoes as the storms get developed as well. We'll show you more on the timing. Marginal means, well, 1 or 2 of these storms might flirt with severe categories out there. And the light green that you see surrounding that entire area is just garden variety, non-severe thunderstorm potential. Now, as we go through the deep south here, we're talking about areas in central Texas that are right up into the metroplex there, Dallas, Fort Worth. We'll even see a chance of some storms right on the Gulf Coast, but it doesn't look like the risk of those will be as severe, just based on the timing of those storms as well. Now, as we go through the overnight hours, these storms will continue to percolate. Their risk of severe is a little bit lower, and then it picks up and returns in the afternoon heating of the day in the deep south. We're talking about East Texas and the hills. We're talking about the Arkansas, Oklahoma area, as well as Louisiana, with a slight risk of severe. And again, all modes of severe weather will be possible. We're talking hail, flash flooding, the lightning, which is always the case, and tornadoes cannot be ruled out as well with these storms that will push off into portions of the deep south and southeastern United States, including Alabama and Florida and Georgia, as we go into your Saturday morning as well. So that is a look at the severe risk. Let's take a look at the timing on these. And for that, I have a model loaded up. Let's check this out. Keeping things moving. Again, thanks for joining me right here on Hutch's Weather. Here is a look at this overall broad view of the storm potential as we work our way into the day. Notice this. Showers and thunderstorms meandering. That's not the main event. Here it comes. Boom. That second wave is the one that will have the most likelihood of being severe, and that's coming from the coast of California, a wave in the upper levels of the atmosphere that will make its way in. So we'll have showers and storms through Texas. The risk of those being severe, not very high. It's that second wave. And look what it's followed up by. See the blue there as we take a look? Woo, that's snow rolling out of the Rockies of Colorado, Nebraska, and heading into the high plains of the panhandles of Texas, Oklahoma possibly, as well as well, the plains of Kansas. And I have to say, too, that there is a risk of some pretty heavy snowfall potential from these systems. The models are just now starting to indicate. So let's take a closer look at the reflectivity with these storms, and we'll walk through the model here for you and show you the timing and track as we look at the deep south, and we'll look at the threat and where the risk is greatest. So as we go into the day on your Thursday, we'll see some showers and storms develop. They could be strong, and watch this right here as they move into the metroplex. Look at this. Dallas, Fort Worth. I'm going to get my pencil out here and show you that here is this little backward C shape. That's a little bowing structure by these storms. They could be gusty. I think gusty storms with the intense wind potential will be the main threat. Good evening, Teresa. It's sure good to have you on board. Love seeing all of the comments in here, and love the fact that you share that Hutch's Weather is right here. Now, as that system works its way into the central part of Texas and out, the main event, as I mentioned, is actually still making its way through. So check this out. Right behind me here as we go into the latter part of the day. Here we go with a chance for more development right here. See that? San Angelo, Texas, all the way up into the Wichita Falls area. This line, as it develops and pushes off to the east, will have that potential. Notice the time up there is pretty late as we go into the late night hours. That energy there, as it works its way through, could be very stout indeed. So we'll have a chance for some severe storms in the daytime hours, and they could be windy, but the greatest risk of any storms with spin or really large hail in excess of 1.5 to 2 inches in diameter, San Angelo, Abilene on up into the Wichita Falls area. That's where I think that will be taking place as we roll through. That makes its way into the Dallas-Fort Worth area with chance for wind and hail as we go into the morning hours on Friday. So that's the timing of the event as we work our way through the Deep South, and that is on Thursday. Notice there is some precipitation in the high country outside of Santa Fe. That is the chance of snow that we'll be following up. More on that in a second. Stay tuned. Now let's turn the page and look at that second risk for severe weather. Remember, I pointed out this Friday risk here taking place from the eastern portions of Texas through Louisiana, as well as you folks in Arkansas and the Panhandle of Florida through the deep south of the Mississippi Delta, including parts of Alabama. So here is a look at the timing on that. For that, I'm going to use and choose a slightly different model that goes out just a little bit farther. So bear with me while I pull up that model and get that loaded for you and for your viewing pleasure. And so you have some details on the early timing. Remember, this is pretty far out, so there could be some significant timing changes and intensity changes on the second day of severe weather on Friday. Here you go. Let's put this up on your screen for you so you can also see the timing of this. So the storms that roll out of Dallas-Fort Worth as we go into the Friday morning time frame here, okay, we'll be pushing through Dallas as we go through. The timing, that's the afternoon storms that work their way through, and then they roll out into places like central Louisiana and western parts of Arkansas, not far from Fort Smith there. And Memphis, Tennessee, you'll be in the mix as well. Now, as we zoom in on this area here, here's the risk of the severe storms. The potential will be all the way from New Orleans. Here is the event taking place. We're talking mid-afternoon into the early evening hours, and then working its way off to the east. Do you see what's going on by Fort Smith, by the way, behind my head or over my head here? That is another round of potentially stout thunderstorms that will be working their way through. This model carries us up into the morning hours of Saturday at midnight, and these storms will continue to progress their way eastward toward the Panhandle of Florida, Alabama. That does include Macon, Georgia, Albany, Georgia, as well as Atlanta, Birmingham, and on up toward Nashville as well. All threats will be there once again on the second day of severe storms in the Deep South on the Friday timeframe into Saturday morning. Keep in mind, flooding rainfall from these will also be a significant concern. And it will be on Friday that we'll have that big chance of things changing over to snow. Hey, Kim, good to have you on, joining from Trail up in Minnesota. Thanks for watching. I sure appreciate that. Now, let's take a peek at what's going on with regards to this snow business. We're going to change this over to a future radar that shows us the precipitation type. And then we'll look at snowfall amounts, and I'll show you why I'm more concerned about some impactful snow sliding out of the Rockies and into the Panhandle of Oklahoma, as well as North Texas, as the cold air dives south out of the high country. Here we go as we set this into motion for you, and we'll go ahead and zoom into the area of concern here. And let me load this up here. There we go. Now I'll just use the slider. Okay, so as the thunderstorm chances exit, watch what rolls out of the mountains of Colorado. Look what is going on the high plains of Nebraska, the high plains of the state of Kansas, as well as eastern Colorado. So not only are we going to have some big time snow potential in the southern Rockies of Colorado, on the eastern plains up here, we could have ourselves a good old-fashioned winter weather event taking place. There are some winter weather products issued from the National Weather Service office out of Colorado on that. I'll put those up on your screen too so you can follow along with that. Winter weather alerts in the form of winter storm watches for the high country of Colorado. Cheyenne has pulled the trigger on a winter storm warning. The mountains south of Pueblo, they're near Trinidad in the southern part of Colorado, also winter storm warning. No big time products yet issued for the high plains of eastern Colorado into western Minnesota. Right now, those stand as winter weather advisories. So I'll keep you posted on that, but just know this. watch what takes place as this cold air knifes out and this system spins its way out into the plains. Here we go. Look at this. Out there near Dumas, Amarillo, Guyman, and all the way up to Dodge City, Kansas, a wintry mix is going to be spreading its way through. Will it be significant quantities? Well, because we'll have some enhanced energy in the atmosphere and lift. You see where we see the bright yellows on the radar here, and then the grays? The grays would be big flakes the size of Hutch's thumbs. That's pretty good size. So you have big flakes with rapid accumulation potential on that ramp. And this is an early model. And again, this is Friday, a couple days out. So things can change with this. But I do have some concern that we will see some impactful snow potential working its way into the panhandle of Texas, including Amarillo, out towards Woodward, Texas, Dodge City, Kansas, right into portions of not far from you in Kansas City as we carry this model out. But this area here could have wind, it could have snow, and it could be accumulating to significant amounts. Speaking of significant amounts, I'm going to close with a little look here at what we're expecting for the potential with regards to snowfall potential with this system. And again, please don't pay particular mind to the numbers that you're seeing here for snowfall amounts as this system works its way through. It's too early to forecast amounts. I like to call this model guidance for a reason, but it does give us an idea of what the potential might be. So keep that in mind. Now, where you see the bullseye here at the end of the model run, that's what we're looking at. So I'm going to pause it right there at the end. And what we'll do is we'll take a look at these numbers. And again, I'm going to caution you, they're going to be pretty scary looking high numbers. I am not forecasting these amounts yet, but the model, kind of interesting to look at here, is advertising with all of the moisture available in the depth of the atmosphere, the flow on the backside plus the lift is going to wring out upwards of 1 to 2 feet of snow in the panhandle of Texas. Is that possible? Maybe even more. We see some areas here getting redonky-donk amounts, over 40 inches of snow. Now, again, I'm not forecasting that, but the models are starting to advertise we could have a more significant winter impact from Dodge City, Kansas, down into the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas as well. Stay tuned to your local authorities and National Weather Service offices on that. Notice there are no warnings issued for winter weather in these areas yet, because not everybody's convinced, because not all models are showing this. Now, how about the high plains outside of Colorado? We're looking up there on the Sterling I-76 corridor up there, and that area, as you go into Ogallala and North Platte, Nebraska, could be hit with a foot of snow from this system as well, with some winds. So the mountains of Colorado, winter storm watches are in effect in the northern and central Rockies, including those outside of Denver and Golden, Colorado, as you get up into the elevations above, say, 7,000 feet. Then you go down to the south part of the state down here, and we have snowfall potential down near Walsenburg and in the deep south of anywhere from 5 inches to over a foot of snow. That's a look at your forecast. Again, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. I really appreciate your likes, your comments. I'd love to have you subscribe to my channel here. And I got to tell you, after 27 years of broadcasting on television as a broadcast meteorologist, a better part of 20 years teaching meteorology in the college classroom as well, as a little bit of research included, I sure enjoy talking about the weather, and I hope you gained something from this as well. Stay tuned for more updates on this and other weather right here on Hutch.